feel are the critical needs of our city and what needs to be addressed right away?
Okay, first of all, I want to thank you for your hospitality, for your selection of me to participate in the process, for your staff, and all of the advice and input and hospitality they've shown. I think I may be blowing your question a little bit, but I think the most pressing issue that I think that you have as a community is your finances. And we had a budget workshop last night. I did get a bit of a briefing on that by your city manager this morning.
Excuse me, can we get a microphone for her?
Okay.
Oh, you got
I'm
one?
sorry.
That's
That's what I was asking earlier. It appears that you have about $1 million projected budget deficit again in your general fund for next fiscal year. I don't know if that includes any, that may include some additional that may show up in terms of your property appraisal, because I don't think you've heard from your property appraisal quite yet, finally. Right. So it could be on track, it could be more or less or so. But I think that's one of the key items that you really need to deal with immediately as you go forward. And excuse me, did you ask the 3 critical or 1 critical?
What are any of the critical needs to you?
Oh, I think that to me that's your most critical is dealing with your financial needs.
Any others that you do?
I think you've got your a number of your capital projects underway, and those need to be monitored and all. You had some plans, I think, for a number of initiatives. They may need to be reviewed in light of the existing budget context. I don't know where you are and how you handle your budget here. I know that when I joined the city of Castleberry, we were facing a budget crisis there, and I immediately went through, I retired in February, and I think by April I had recommended to the commission culling up an additional $1 million in order, because the taxable values were falling, and we were trying to save money, and because we knew that the values were going to decline again for the next budget year. So we had a little bit of a process when we just immediately hit it, which meant that a number of initiatives had to be delayed. So I don't know if that's critical for here or not. There are a number of key positions that need to be hired. I think that would be something to get your talent, get people in place so that they can serve the community as best as possible. I'm sure that there are a number of things that we've talked about. I took a tour this morning of the city. You've got a very good staff, new planners, other people joining your city to basically work with you in terms of a number of initiatives, whether it's code enforcement, economic development, those types of things. I think working on your economic development is crucial too. I don't know how, if there's no economic development plan, how fast you can get some transition going, some things moving, but certainly there's some great ideas out there, and I'm trying to get those get some movement on those so that over the next couple of years or so, maybe there's some additional product coming out of the ground or so that would help build tax base for you.
Thank you. Want to start?
Sure. Right, let's do it left to right.
Each ask questions through
Whichever you
Okay. Barbara, what would you do to make up the $1 million budget shortfall next year?
I think that's one of the things that would have to be examined in terms of your budget. I think one of the first things I want to do is listen to you all in terms of what your ideas are, what your concepts are, what your perspectives are. I need to talk to staff, see what the opportunities are, and I think that's where you get started. You all are the listening board for the community, and my job is to listen to you all, listen, and see where we can go from here.
Commissioner Rosa?
Hi, good to see you again. The City of Lake Worth has a collective bargaining agreement with 3 unions. What is your approach in working with unions?
I've been very fortunate in my career. I had unions in Gainesville. We did our bargaining there very successfully. We were not at odds. Castleberry, my fire union, my police union has been very conciliatory. I'll be honest with you. I've had think the fire union, their contract has been out about 3 years now, and we were basically under gentleman's agreement, waiting till the end of the legislative session to see what changes might come down from the legislature in terms of the pension. That's the big issue that was out there when I left Castleberry. And then, the decision would be made at that point about where we would go, whether or not we could negotiate something at the table or go on straight to impasse or what. But they have not been particularly contentious. At one point, the fire union did file a couple of complaints in Tallahassee, which they withdrew.
Commissioner McCoy?
We have I don't know whether you got a chance to tour, but you've probably seen it in the plan view. We have a area that we call the Park of Commerce. At this point, it's more park than commerce, but it's something that's been on our sites, and I think there's pretty broad support in the community to try and develop that as something that helps the city out, both for jobs and for tax base. There's been a study done on that. It has all sorts of infrastructure needs. How would you go about, if you were to come on, how would you go about trying to find financing to get that infrastructure going such that it can in fact develop into a commerce?
Okay, I saw it this morning, and I'll be honest with you, I was involved in something that we were teeing up in Castleberry. We called it our Idea Park, and it was a commerce park also. Basically, I had done a study to show how it could be expanded and whether or not, there were some recommendations that the commission could buy some extra land if they wanted to, try to get the pricing down so that once you develop it, you wouldn't have to pay the higher prices. We also did a conceptual layout of sort of an immediate and medium and then a build out, and to show, 3 different scenarios on where the utilities like the stormwater could go, the master stormwater ponds, those kinds of things, so that each individual lot would not have to be half consumed with stormwater provision, that type of thing. And we themed it the Idea Park. In the case of Lake Worth, I would work with your planning group, your various utility groups. I think there are some fund balances that might be in utilities that you might be able to apply to that. I don't know. And I think that's what the difficulty of these, interview questions are. They sort of presume that you know more than you by reading the internet than you really do know. I don't know that there's much capacity in the general fund to help support it. And it may be that there might be parcels or pieces of it that you could do some master planning and then sell off with the understanding that whoever you're selling it to would be paid payments into funds so that you could deliver the utilities or deliver improvements or so at some point. I think even looking at EDA grants, if they may be available, or any other grants, I don't know. I did not see, I don't know. There are a lot of vacancies out there. There's a lot of big areas. So maybe if you had a plan so that if there were some payments to be made, everybody would know what they would be paying into and how it would be delivered or something like that. Might be something that we can do with that.
Commissioner Maxwell?
Thank you, and good to see you again. You and I spent a couple hours earlier this afternoon. Again, I apologize I wasn't here earlier in the week. Obviously, finances is a big priority for us. Depending on who you talk to, they get their different flavor for where we are. I personally think we're pretty much metal on metal right now in terms of our finances. How do you feel about the concept of assessments in general? And do you think that we're at that point where we need to have a serious discussion about ways to assess people?
I have implemented assessments in the past, which you probably saw from my background. I did put in a street lighting fee in the city of Castleberry. And the reason I did it is because the bill had got so high, and we had some other obligations, and the tax base was falling.